quick things that I share with my clients, I ask my clients to do. And the number one thing is kids need to get outdoors. They need fresh air. They need sunshine. Sunscreen, we're now finding, actually contributes to skin cancer. So, of course, you don't want them in a blazing hot sun in the middle of the day without sunscreen. But if you can get them out into the sun every day, if kids keep a little tan year round, then they actually don't need sunscreen. So they need sunlight to form vitamin D in the skin. They need fresh air, and they need movement. I work with some very unusual chiropractors at the Lydian Center, and one of their mottos is the brain is formed through movement. It's really the movement of the body that helps to lay down neural networks in the brain. So kids need to get out and move. And there's actually very good information that getting kids out into nature, they can get off their ADHD meds. There's something about nature that kids really need. And there's this wonderful book, Last Child in the Woods. And there's a whole movement called No Child Left Inside about, and people can Google it. In many states there are organizations and information about how to get kids out into nature. So that's the first thing. And then another really important thing, this wasn't even a factor when I began my practice 20 years ago, but I'm finding now that when I try to treat a child and they're not getting better, I have to think, what are the obstacles? Like when I know a remedy is good and it should be working, and it's not working, I think, what are the obstacles in the environment? And the number one thing right now is electromagnetic fields. I really recommend getting the book Zapped. It will walk you through your house room by room, and it will tell you, it'll help you do an inventory of all the electronic devices, and it'll give you suggestions for how to mitigate it. I mean, honestly, it's very scary. The first part of the book is totally scary, but then she tells you what to do. And then there's also this wonderful book, Earthing, about the importance of being grounded and connected with the earth. You can buy earthing products like earthing mats and so forth to put on your child's bed. But honestly, getting out into nature is even better than that. Earthing is like, it's a workaround for city dwellers. If there's nothing but concrete around your house and you need to do something, you can get an earthing mat. But I hope you can get your kids out into the real thing. I would say, out of all the suggestions I've made to my clients, this has been the biggest thing I've gotten the best feedback on and has made the biggest difference, and that is to get a Vitamix. And it's a good chance for me to say I have no financial connection with any of these products. I'm not getting a commission on Vitamixes, and I wish I were, because a lot of people buy Vitamixes. It doesn't have to be a Vitamix. There are other heavy-duty blenders out there, but it's different from a regular blender, because what it does, it's like the miracle of the Vitamix. You can put kale and fruit in there and maybe coconut milk or almond milk. You can get your kids to help stuff this stuff in. And it will take green vegetables and make them into this frothy, foamy, whippy, wonderful, kind of sweet-tasting thing that will actually get kids to eat green vegetables. So they call it the miracle of the Vitamix, because there's only so much a remedy can do if a kid isn't eating healthy. And this has been the greatest tool for getting kids to eat healthy. And another one is kids are more likely to eat green vegetables if they grow them. So if you have a backyard, and you can put in an organic vegetable garden, you probably want to do a raised bed one, so you can start with very clean organic soil. I did this last year, and the production was unbelievable. We couldn't keep up. We had to keep giving away vegetables. So kids really enjoy this. And then if you don't have access to a backyard, anybody can put in a windowsill set of trays that will grow microgreens. And how cool is that? You pay a lot of money for them, but in a restaurant or something, you're considered so fancy, but you can grow them on your own windowsill. And when kids grow things, it's really exciting, and they're much more likely to eat them. So let's see. Here's another thing.
You could also do a CSA, like a...
Oh, yes, of course, a CSA is another wonderful suggestion. And it helps the farmers. Supporting the local organic farmers is so important. And buying into a farm at the beginning of the growing season is a great way to do that. And often you get to meet the farmer and chat with the farmer and find out what's going on in the fields and with the weather. It helps you to feel connected with your food. There are many, many good books about healthy food for kids. Here are two of my favorites. Kelly Dorfman. I am such a fan of Kelly Dorfman. I think that she's been doing a webinar for you or something.
With my own personal webinar, I had her on a few months ago, and then because Epidemic Answers sort of merged with Developmental Delay Resources, which she and Patty Lemer co-founded, we'll definitely have her on again, because I mean, she just has so many great topics, like kids who are picky eaters, or kids, most of these kids have nutritional deficiencies, and it's not generally recognized by most pediatricians. And so she's got some
Yes.
really practical advice in there.
She is absolutely brilliant. I have huge respect for her. Really recommend her book.
Hmm.
And then the one on the right is about what's called the GAPS diet. And in my practice, I've had moms tell me that the GAPS diet has been completely transformational for their kids. The only problem is that it's very hard to do. You really have to get the whole family on board. Moms have to get the skeptical husband on board. This is what I hear over and over again,
That's
is
the
that the
hard part.
dad is sneaking treats to the kids because the kid is craving cookies or something, and
Right.
the dad has a secret stash of cookies. So
Hmm.
it works amazingly well. It's just somewhat difficult to implement. But if the child is seriously ill, this seems to be absolutely the best thing that you could do for the child.
Hmm.
And I would really recommend getting the book and going on the website and learning the principles in it, because even if you can't do it in a 100% perfect way, anything you can do along these directions towards more of a GAPS diet is going to help your child to be healthier. Let's see. Okay. So then I see some moms completely overload their kids with supplements, so I'm trying to give a really minimal list here. I think the most important thing that kids are missing is essential fatty acids, and they're so important for the brain. The brain is, to a large extent, composed of essential fatty acids. I like the idea of getting things from food, so chia seeds and hemp seeds are a great source. Chia seeds are these tiny little black dots, and you can dissolve them in something like, okay, here's my favorite thing, dissolve them in coconut milk, and it makes like a little coconut puddingy thing that kids
Right.
like.
Those are good.
And also hemp seeds. So you can put these things in your smoothies. A couple of good sources: Nordic Naturals, a very well respected brand for essential fatty acids. They make a child's gummies, and I asked them, don't the essential fatty acids break down when they're exposed to air? They said no, they have a certain kind of coating, so they're preserved.
Hmm.
Berry Treasure is a liquid form. I've had moms tell me their kids like this. Berry Treasure is a liquid form of essential fatty acids that are very good for the child's brain.
Hmm.
Vitamin D is another thing we tend to be low in. People should know about the Vitamin D Council. You can go on there, you can order a home test kit, which is more accurate than the one your doctor is likely to order. And then you can figure out how much vitamin D your child needs. And liquid vitamin D is it just by the dropper full. It's like 1,000 units per drop. It's very easy to get a child to take it.
Hmm.
Another huge thing now is, especially with kids who've been on antibiotics, probiotics are so important, and or fermented foods. If you can get your child to eat fermented foods. And then a multivitamin, so many good brands, but just in general, I would say a health food store brand instead of a drugstore brand. They're more expensive. It's totally worth it. The quality is better. The food base is better. The forms of the vitamins and minerals, they're more easily absorbed, or they're the right form that your body needs. I'm going to put in a plug for supporting your local independent health food store, because I used to own one and I know they're a labor of love and they're a great source of information. I think the chain stores tend to be not quite such a good source of information. Usually your local independent health food store will have long-term employees who are very knowledgeable about vitamins, and they can recommend something for you.
Hmm.
Okay, let's see. And then I'm going to talk about specific things for each cold or cough or whatever. These are just good things to have on hand. Elderberry syrup, kids love it. You can get elderberry and honey. Honey has its own antimicrobial properties. Elderberry is antiviral, and the combination, it's good for, like I said, it's good for the immune system, good for viruses. It's a good cough syrup, and because kids like the taste. It tastes like a berry honey syrup. They like the taste.
Yeah.
Um, then there's this stuff called Xlear. I didn't get a very good picture of it. This is from their website. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's spelled like clear, but with an X. This stuff is amazing. It's like a saline spray with xylitol in it.
Huh.
And both of these things act to dry up nasal secretions and kill the microbes in the nose. You can just kind of squirt it in there. It's good for nasal discharge and for sinus. So this is a good thing, good general thing. Seven Cream, this is over on the right. Not very well known. It's not generally in health food stores. You can easily get it online. And it's such a good thing. It can be used instead of a cortisone cream. It was designed by a homeopath because homeopaths find that cortisone tends to kind of fight against the healing that a homeopathic remedy is trying to do with skin conditions.
Hmm.
And it also provides relief. If somebody has eczema or psoriasis, you can get short-term relief with this. It's also good for dry skin, itchy skin, scaly skin, bug bites, burns, many different things. It has 7 different oils. It has like manuka honey and neem oil and calendula and a lot of different healing creams. Another thing is topricin, that's down at the bottom. This is a salve that can be put on for sore muscles or sore joints or basically musculoskeletal things. Topricin and Tramiel is also very well known. They're both very similar. Then Rescue Remedy, that's in the middle. This is a blend of flower essences. It's good for any trauma. It could be a physical trauma, your child falls off her bike. It could be an emotional trauma, another kid is mean to her and she comes home in tears. We don't want to over medicate our kids, and we don't want them to think that anytime they're upset about something, they need to take something that looks like a drug, even if it's a natural thing. But times when there's a real emergency, I call it emotional first aid. When somebody's really in meltdown
Yes,
and they
I've
can't
used it so
function.
many times.
Yeah, so you use Rescue Remedy.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. There are times like maybe there's a death in the family and people have to pull themselves together and do all the things that have to be done when someone passes away. That's a very appropriate time to take something like Rescue Remedy. We don't want to numb our grief or our shock or upset, but there are times when we need to cope, and Rescue Remedy can help with that.